Shalom, 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 alaikum, Yasharal. And what is going on with the Gentiles? Much love. We are not lost, but scattered worldwide. And we are back here on Mocha Modesty for another Modest podcast episode. This is Men and Modesty because we know modesty is not just for women. And we're going to be talking about Cam Newton opening up about his financial battles to provide for his 8 children now that he's no longer in the NFL. Let's get to it. Y'all know I'm going to give my biblical perspective. Let's get to it. And I hope y'all enjoy today's podcast episode. All right. Now, brothers, before we get started, all right, I know a lot of brothers, they might feel a way about some of the things that I might say, but I hope you know that I'm giving this message out of love, okay? So this is really not to come at Cam Newton. This is really kind of like educational purposes, okay? And I want to talk about the polygamy to poverty pipeline. Excuse me. Yes, I said it. On this channel, I have talked about how being poly or practicing fornication leads to poverty, okay? It's a curse that's attached to that, all right? So this is not to come at people for living a certain type of way. I'm going to always come from a biblical perspective, okay? That's just me. Now, let me state the obvious, because there's a lot of silly women laden with sin that they go around and they push that this should be acceptable in 2025, even though the Most High already told you that get your own husband, get your own wife. And the reason why now you have to have one wife and there's, one husband gets one wife is because of the adultery, the fornication, and the idolatry that Yasharel and Judah practiced. So when you fell, there comes punishments, okay? So a lot of people don't understand that when you are in infraction with Yah, it costs you things. Sin, it says the wages of sin is unalive, okay? You're unalived, okay? So privileges that you may have had, and just to clarify, polygyny was not afforded to all men, okay? A lot of people wake up one day and all of a sudden want to get into being a Yasharelite, because some of these men ain't even Yasharelites, but they all of a sudden want to become a Yasharelite, and some of these men kind of lure them into wanting to be in, I guess, in these groups and organizations, because it's an ethnicity, right? But some of them lure them into these groups and organizations because, one of the taglines or the lures is, oh, you could have more than one wife. It's kind of like in Islam where some of the men are like, oh, they have more than one wife, okay? If you are a Yasharelite, let me make it very clear. The patriarchs were allowed to practice that for a short period of time. And it was because Yah wanted to bring forth righteous seed in the earth. Yah is about quality over quantity, right? But when he began to see the wickedness and things that were increased in the earth, he was like, nope, you guys are getting, because of your adultery, you're getting one wife. That wife gets the one husband. Because basically he was tired of all of the sin and wickedness, and he's still tired of it to this day. So the Most High models our relationship from the relationship that Yasharal has with him. He is our husband, right? We are the bride. He gave sacrifice for his bride. It says that, husbands are supposed to love their wives like Yahweh Shai loves the church. So Yah consistently gives us the blueprint, right? He consistently over and over gives us the blueprint of how we're supposed to love him, and we're supposed to be faithful to him, and how a marriage is supposed to work, right? So people who practice fornication is not just two unmarried people, because they say it's two unmarried people just messing around, but fornication is tied into whoredoms, which is tied into you being a covenant breaker, right? So there's people don't have an understanding of Yah could have allowed something yesterday, and then he lays down the law and say, you know what, I don't want you doing that today, right? So before it was animal sacrifices, now I don't want you doing that anymore, because now I have brought forth order, I have brought forth this, I no longer want you doing that. Meaning, like, it used to be a time, y'all, where some of our people, I believe the Levitical people, used to cast lots, and it was to have spiritual access in different things, right? But when Yahweh Shai came and he's high priest, right? We no longer have to do that to have access to the Father. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, just because the Father allowed something for his benefit, because everything is about him. It's never about lust. It's never about infidelity. We serve one Elohim. He will not allow you to have any other gods but him. He's very clear. He's gonna make you stick to that marriage covenant. He's not playing with you. Okay? So we practice, if you are a Yasharelite, what is called a monotheistic belief system, meaning that you worship one God, right? So the other nations, when sin came into the earth, that's when all this poly stuff came. Because a lot of people, they get it twisted. Oh, well, when the Most High gave Adam and grandmother Chawah in the garden, he gave him one wife, right? One rib, one to stand beside him, one helpmate. Okay? That's just how it went down, okay? Now, certain forefathers, right, were allowed, because Abba Yah was trying to repopulate and wanted certain righteous seed in his garden, which is the earth, to go forth, because Hasatan at that time was sowing tares into the earth. This is why Yahweh Shai was telling folks, you are of your father Hasatan, because that's very deep, okay? It's very, very, very deep, because Yah has children. Hasatan also has his tares that are his children, okay? So with that being said, how does this all tie into Cam Newton, you ask, right? So basically, when we broke our covenant and our vows to the Father, because our forefathers agreed to this, right? We then fell, we went into slavery, and it caused other people to have access to us, which was also fornication. And you see people like Solomon talk about how vanity, and how when he had access to all these women, he was serving other gods. He started getting into all of this poly stuff, because it's deeper. Marriage is an institution that was given to us by Yahweh, right? So, like I said, Yah is about quality over quantity, right? In the Torah, it talks about, Yah acknowledging the wife of your youth. Wife. That's singular, right? Monotheistic views monogamy, the M-O, meaning a lot of men will say, oh, well, we're polygamous by nature. No, you're not. Because then that would mean that you're admitting, well, actually, I could honestly say you are sinful by nature. So your flesh would want to commit all forms of fornication and adultery and not have self-control. But you're supposed to die to the flesh, because righteous men exhibit self-control. How do we know that? Joseph was praised for being chaste. Potiphar's wife in the scripture, in the testament of Joseph, praised Joseph for being chaste, where Joseph had to tell her bag back You doing too much. You somebody else's wife. And the reason why this polygyny stuff causes poverty. Ooh, you like KB? Where you going with this? The reason why this stuff causes poverty is because people come with different generational curses and battles. When you're messing with people on a level that is creating soul ties, right? Soul ties cost you, okay? Like when you marry somebody, you are getting into a covenant agreement, which means that, let's say a woman, right, that you get with, her family practice ancestral dedications to certain gods, right? But you serve Yahweh. Yahweh is going to allow for that spirit to tax you because you got in a covenant that was outside of him, right? So this is what men who are lustful don't take into consideration. That basically when you stay under what the law of Yah is, because Yah said that because we would become an adulterous generation, to only have one wife and one husband, submit yourselves to Yahweh and practice those laws, statutes, and commandments, bring forth righteous seed, and teach them in the ways of, the ways of Yahweh, and then they continue to bear righteous fruit, right? But what we have decided to do, we have decided to forsake the covenant. We have broken our promise to Yah. We have decided to basically be fornicating all around, making all these soul ties with this person, practicing poly because you are serving other gods, serving the gods of lust. You are getting into serving the devourer, because Hasatan says that you should be able to be essentially liberated and doing it all the time, when you want it, how you want it, where you want it, all of that, when the Most High tells you to deny yourself, right? Deny the flesh, right? Have self-control. In order to be a disciple, you have to be disciplined. That's the main purpose of being a disciple, is to be disciplined. So a righteous man will deny his flesh to serve Yah. Yah says, if you are a king, or if you are in a high level in Yasharal, you should only have one wife anyway, because if you try to expand that number, you're going to end up like Solomon, serving other gods, and you're going to eventually discuss Yah. And he literally says that it's an abomination to him, and he's disgusted by this stuff. And you know how we know? Because look at our community today, where these men are having kids with this woman, that woman, this woman, that woman, and they're not getting married. Now, I'm not talking about men who are being honorable and doing what they're supposed to do. But there's a huge population that they're falling prey and victim to lust, and they are getting into all forms of fornication and whoredom, and it's costing them. When you're with Yah, he rebukes the spirit of the devourer. When you serve Hasatan, he gonna tax them pockets every single time. The cankerworm is gonna eat that up. Okay, so a man who is serving Yah, Yah is building him up. He then pours into his wife. His wife then pours into the children. The husband is also able to pour into the children and bears righteous fruit. Now let's talk about Cam Newton. Mr. I just want God to send them. This is why having a home over here, creating all these broken homes, is not paying off, right? The Most High tell you to flee fornication, flee vanity. Modesty is the fleeing of vanity. You know why your father could tell you to flee all fornication? That means flee all wickedness, flee all whoredoms, flee all lust, vain, and idolatry. Because let me tell you something. a lot of these men today, they think because they have money, they think because they have status, that means that they could do whatever they want to do. But it's a cost to be the boss, right? Hasatan make that sin parade look amazing. And I'm at the point where, this is why I don't even respect sisters that be pushing and advocating for this mess. Because if you were spiritually inclined in spiritual warfare, you would know that polygamous spirits are real. Fighting those spirits off are real, right? Poverty and that go hand in hand. The spiritual children that are in the spiritual realm, the spirit wives and things, and spirit husbands and stuff, that stuff is real. So he got a woman over there, all of these children. We're talking about Cam Newton. And he like, now that he not the man no more because he ain't in the NFL. See, vanity always comes to a close, folks. We just talked about this with Melissa Ford, right? When she thought she was Miss Thing because she was in every magazine. And, y'all be sending good people to you that would do right, that would love you for you, that would take care of you, that would be happy to raise your children. And you say, I just want them all, right? You just want them all. You don't really understand that the type of woman you marry represents the type of wisdom that you're exuding, right? That represents where you're at, right? So you could be into strange women and strange wisdom. You could be into, virginal wisdom that is untainted, that comes from the Most High. That's going to be a woman that's righteous, and she's going to be very concerned about the quality over quantity that I just described. So Cam Newton, I'm on marca.com. This was written by somebody named Sam, and basically this was put out on the 18th. It says Cam Newton admits providing for 8 children after retiring from the NFL is hard, as the former Carolina Panther says he no longer feels like Superman, meaning that vanity is coming to a close because it will be a time where them girls is not calling your name no more. It will be a time where you don't have the funds. It will be a time where the muscles just ain't muscling, if you know what I mean. It will be a time where the women that were into you for vanity, the vain ones, the ones that just wanted to destroy you, because a lot of men, they're so lust driven that they don't realize that a lot of these side chicks and side girls are really witches that were sent to them to destroy them. Think about Samson and Delilah. Some of these women were sent to you as a distraction to keep you from completing your mission that y'all had for you. But y'all don't think like that because you're too busy thinking with your thing downstairs. Right? Any man of y'all can admit to this, that all of those women are a distraction that's going to get you off track. Right? When you are stable in your thought process and you are grounded and rooted in the things that y'all, all you really have time for is really serving y'all and the woman that y'all sends to you and those children. You are doing your divine duty and service and raising them up so that they become righteous seed, because it's not just about you having a bunch of children. It's about the children being of righteous lineage. And y'all really be thinking that. Y'all don't know about y'all Most High that'll go and take out the whole line if they wicked. You think he just cares that you able to populate a whole line, or you think he cares about the quality of the lineage that you're bringing forth? All right, so let's get back to it. It says the ex-quarterback earned a salary of $6 million in his final year at the Bank of America Stadium, top up his $5.1 million from the New England Patriots in 2020. And basically, they're going over his financials. Basically, when he thought he was the man, he probably was spending money like it wasn't nothing. He said, you know how, what did Meek Mill said, running around like you Superman? Don't be selfish. You better get your mom insurance money. Whew. Getting back to it, y'all. Getting back to it. I love these podcast episodes because I'm able to be funny and be real with y'all. But all jokes aside, he was running around probably spending money like it was water coming out of a non-ending faucet, y'all. Like it was never going to tap out. Not realizing that children are expensive, and when you're not doing right by Yah will then allow those spirits to have access to you. Because when you're outside of the parameters of the covenant, he created the institution of marriage. Marriage is the highest form of government. Right? It's one of those high organizations. And marriage, when you're inside of marriage, it creates high, and I'm talking about, we're not talking about people that just are getting married for bugged out reasons, that the most high never put those people together. They just was doing things to do things. We're talking about people that are really living for the Father, because a lot of people, they try to diminish the importance of marriage, but marriage is very important. If it wasn't, the most high would have never gave it to you and never gave you the principle to give you stability. It was to give you stability, to create healthy people in society. But when you live in lawlessness, this is why y'all ever wonder why y'all got stuff like child support? Why the child support hitting you upside your head is because of fornication. Because if you was really with a righteous woman, if you was really practicing the law, statutes, and commandments of the Father, you don't got to worry about paying for your children because they in the house with you. Your wife in the room down the hall with you. So you don't have to worry about that. When you're really married and was put together by the Father, because despite what people are trying in their lawlessness, because they don't tell you about the lawless parts with why they not together or what they was doing or the wickedness they was doing. They don't tell you about that part. They just tell you and try to convince you that marriage is not important. But it must have been important because the Most High told you that that's what you're supposed to be doing. All right? And if you don't want to do the marriage part, then you ain't supposed to be out here messing with nobody at all. You could be single, but you can't sleep with nobody single. That's just where that's at. Now, this brother, the level of delusion is coming to a close that happens with a lot of these men overall. Because a lot of these men that are red pill, they always say stuff like, oh, y'all women, y'all might want to get married when y'all young, this, that, and the third. And honestly, I really take that as projection, because you was commanded to get stable in your thought process and do what you were supposed to do as well, yet you project that onto women. And a lot of times they end up older and realize that all them HOE 304s ain't calling no more, and when the money run out, they don't have nobody. Those same folks ain't checking for them. They didn't want the good woman. I showed y'all the young man who was honest about it. He said, man, I had a good woman, but I wanted the 304. The Father talks about these sort of men too that sit around and they complain about women, but it clearly tells you that the reward for a wicked man is a wicked woman. So if you ever had access to a good woman, you might not have access to a good woman. The Most High might allow you to get done filthy so that you could get on the path back to righteousness. You could build a righteous family that's following the things of the Most High. If you made mistakes in the past where you wasn't necessarily taking women seriously and you was having kids amongst the place, go repent to the Father for that. Because those children suffered because of that. Now, the Most High is gracious and merciful, so he'll forgive. But you eventually you need to get it right and get it going the correct way. Don't fall into the traps that these women gonna be calling you your whole life. Don't fall into the traps of infidelity and fornication, because your pockets is gonna pay the curses. It's gonna start showing up. Because when your money gotta be pulled in 5, 8 different directions, you gonna be wishing that you practice monogamy, because you serve one God, one monotheistic view system. You gonna be wishing that that's what you did. But when you in fornication and whoredoms, you start flirting with all these different people, all these different gods, these women that got different dedications, because all these sisters ain't serving the Most High. I can tell you that now. A lot of these sisters that's being used, they whole got the siren spirit. You can see a lot of these sisters that these brothers is attracted to. The strange love that some of these brothers got, because some of our brothers is out here, y'all, getting finessed, hard choreo, finessed. And I'm getting ready to talk about, if they don't get that lust spirit together, I'm gonna show y'all on the next podcast episode where it's going. This man is now, he said he is struggling to make ends meet after retiring in 2021, because he got 8 kids. But he was saying he just wants y'all to send them. Right? Remember he was talking all that? When he was clowning the girl, they was clowning, what's the girl name? Jazz something. When they was clowning her, when all these women was doing auditions to kind of cause stability, they wanted stability. They wanted to be the one, and he didn't want that. He wanted to continue to have all these broken homes all amongst the place. He didn't want the nuclear family structure that would have saved him money in the long run, because he wouldn't have had to have his money going to these different women in different households. See, this is what happens. Dang, homie. In high school, you was the man, homie type of energy. This is what happens when the fans and people is no longer calling your name. The muscles ain't muscling. The women ain't calling. This is what starts to happen, folks. This is why the Most High tell you to stay humble. Walk in modesty and be shamefaced with sobriety. Be ye sober. Sober-minded. Because when you're sober-minded, you think about honoring Yah, and you think about the long term. Is my father going to be pleased with this? How am I really going to raise these kids in all these separate households and all this confusion? The Most High Yah is not the author of confusion. And it's a lot of men that like to push this. You ain't never seen a group of women ever get along. Ever! And nor will they. Nor will they. Nor will they get along for this. Because if you know the role of women, you know that women are influencers. You notice that the Most High tried to tell you that in Torah. And look at women now, right? Look at who Hasatan uses now the most as influencers on social media. That's because he's not confused about the role of women, but a lot of these men are confused about the role of women. This is why women in each other's territory, they have a problem with that, because they're influencers. They don't like other people influencing their territory, right? So if you have a righteous wife, she gonna influence you to do righteousness. If you have a wicked wife like a Jezebel, she gonna co-sign. See, a lot of men think Jezebel just mean that the woman is a talker, or she does this or that, or she's loud, or she speaks. No. Righteous women are visionaries. They can hear from Yah, and they are sent to help you, and they're going to speak. The Most High, this is why the Most High told Abraham, hearken to the voice of your wife. a lot of times men be so prideful that they can't hear from y'all because they know that they're the head of the household. But the Most High be like, the Most High could easily come to them and tell them something, but they are so prideful that sometimes he has to send a woman to influence them. Go and tell him I said this, because if I gotta go over there, it's gonna be a problem. So maybe you could tell him before it, because if I got to come down, it's gonna be a problem. This is why Mary Magdalene was the one who was able to announce the resurrection. But men don't realize the role of women a lot of the time because of pride, right? So with that being said, a Jezebel, a wicked type of woman, is going to influence the man and co-sign all forms of wickedness. So she's not going to have a problem with that man doing wickedness. Jezebel is going to enable wickedness. She's not going to speak against that man at all. She's going to say, oh, you want to do that? Let me help you do that. Let me help you do that wickedness. So a lot of these men, they run around talking about Jezebel, honey. They getting crossed up by Jezebel every day. They getting dominated and controlled by Jezebel every day. And a part of this is, a part of that Jezebelic type of spirit is using sensuality and lust to control a man, because that is the fastest way to debase a man. The Most High tell you don't even get into messing with prostitution and the rest of that stuff. And a lot of these chicks that are in the influencing game, what are they doing? What are they selling you? So you falling into all this lust and temptation, creating all these children out of broken homes with women who are not influencing anything righteous, and you're expecting the children to turn out right. And then the money thing, because a lot of these women is into strange for some change and getting money off of you. They want to and get some money type of energy. All they thinking about is that, because that's their God. But that's my thoughts about this, y'all. This is the polygyny to poverty pipeline right before your eyes. Men always talk about, monogamy in a negative fashion. And whole time they've been practicing polygyny with these sister wives that they are called baby mamas. That are called baby mamas. And their money is pooled because it costs to be the boss. So their money is pooled into all these different households. And now want to cry because the pockets is bleeding. The Father the Father is undefeated. His way is always going to be the best way. We should not think so highly of ourselves that we think we got it figured out, because the Father knows what comes with certain decisions and the consequences of certain decisions that we make. It's KBC. I'll see y'all soon on the next podcast episode.